So, how to make PDMS. So the first thing that we want to do is, of course, wear gloves, and we need to actually prep the containers that we're going to use. So we need just a plastic cup and 2 petri dishes with the tops. The first thing you're going to want to do before you even start making the mixture is cleaning the cups out. So usually what I do is I just kind of 3 times rinse them with IPA. And really the purpose here is just to kind of get the dust out. Technically, even if the PDMS is a little dirty, it won't actually affect your stacking. You just don't want it to obscure your image when you're looking down at it with the microscope camera. So just kind of spray along all the surfaces here. This case, some weird stuff. Okay. So then after you rinse them with the IPA, and blow them off with the nitrogen gun. Place the IPA in between. Make sure that doesn't go anywhere. Just kind of face it down. You don't have to get it all. You can just get most of it and then kind of flip it over and let it dry as you're making the mixture. So that's what I'll do. Here. So while we make the mixture, the rest of it will more or less finish drying off. If it doesn't, we'll just blow it out more after we're done. So, actually, when we start the mixture, we do need the plastic cup. So, I'll just make sure this is a little bit more. Still not a little bit dry. Okay, this is fine. Okay, so you'll take your plastic cup that you just rinsed out, place it into the scale, then zero it out. You don't have to worry about closing this every time. The numbers don't have to be really that precise, so it's not that much of a big issue. So the first thing we're going to take here is the SYLGARD 184 elastomer base. And I think the ratio here is 10:1. By weight for this base. to hardener. So each petri dish takes about 8 grams of material. So we usually make 2 petri dishes at once, because otherwise it's too hard to mix the hardener and the base together. So what I will do here is I will pour in about 15 grams of the base and another 1.5 grams of the hardener. And you don't have to be super precise, I just kind of let it drip. And then slowly tilt back, slow the drip as you approach your number. And that's good. And then close it up. And then place it back into the aluminum bin. And then your hands will always be nasty after doing this, because everything is just covered in PDMS mixture. So here we'll put in 1.5 grams. And this is always kind of tricky. You could even do this with a pipette if you really want. In fact, the safer way to do it is with a pipette, but this seems to work good enough. But if you don't trust yourself, you can always just measure it out more precisely. So we went about 0.1 gram over. It's not a big deal. I think even if you go like half a gram over, it won't make much of a difference. So now that we've kind of put all this together, we'll change gloves again, because we'll take this off and then we'll start using the mixer. We really don't want to get the mixer more dirty than we have to. So now that we've changed gloves, we can grab the plastic cup from the scale, close it back, zero it back, and then grab this. So ideally this guy should be cleaned after the last use. People should be cleaning after they make each PDMS, but always double check, make sure it's clean. In this case it doesn't look too clean, so we'll wipe it down some before using it. Here we'll put this to the side. So in order to clean this, you only really need to take some IPA. Don't use acetone or anything like toluene. Any of these kind of strong solvents will just eat through the plastic and really don't help clean up the PDMS any more than the IPA does. So just clean the bottom of this so it's all dusty. See how something has to be. Okay. So that's more or less cleaned. Just gonna blow it off. And now we're ready to go. So what we do here is just turn the mixer onto the lowest setting. Yeah, should be this guy. And now we'll just take this and start for 10 minutes. And usually I like to tilt it, try to get the most all in one conglomerate area, so I'm not hitting the plastic cup too much. The trick here is you don't want to keep running the mixer into the plastic cup, because then otherwise it breaks off plastic pieces, and then you get large plastic chunks in your PDMS, and then you have to kind of start over. So after you've mixed for about 10 minutes, we'll pour this into the petri dishes. So once you've done mixing it, it should look like this. There are a lot of air bubbles, etc. So what we'll do is we'll take this and pour it into our petri dish. You should take the larger side as your bottom, and then let's put this side by side. Maybe do one little click with the nitrogen. Okay, and then we're just gonna pour. So I usually get low. Just look at the pour. Try to do it kind of evenly. So I do like a little spiral in and out. I'll do some mixture for one, and then continue with the other one. So I try to not put all in at once to what I think it should be. I try to put some in one and some in another. I find I get closer to half and half when I do it this way. And then you just kind of fill in the gaps. This guy. Okay, and that's good enough. I'm going to take this and throw it out. And then we'll take these, put a cap on them, put it off real quick, and put these inside of a vacuum desiccator for about 2 hours. So turn off the lights. After we put these in the desiccator, we'll clean up the mixer real fast with the IPA. So this guy is the vacuum desiccator that we typically use. For PDMS, you just simply turn this over to where the arrow is pointing up and down along the direction of the valve, and then the other perpendicular arrow is pointing to the right, so away from the pump line. And then you just pull on this guy, open it up. When the noise stops, it means that all the air is coming. So it's the atmosphere. All right. So then we'll take this. We usually use glass slides to balance everything. And these ones are kind of terribly balanced right now. But just put them on top of each other. It's not too required to balance everything right now, and this is good enough. Yeah, I wouldn't worry so much about balancing everything right now in this stage because the PDMS isn't going to harden while you're pumping on it. It's really only going to harden when you go to bake it. So, turn this guy here. Okay, on. And then pump. Press it. So if it's properly pumped, you shouldn't be able to pull the top off. And now we just leave this for 2 hours. So just after you place it into the desiccator, you should clean the mixer. That way the PDMS hasn't had much time to dry. It's a lot easier to clean during this period of time rather than later. Just give it a quick wipe. If it's cleaned every time, it really only takes like a quick wipe to clean it off. Just do what we did in the start. And just blow it all off. And that's it. Now we wait for 2 hours. So once 2 hours has passed, you can just again vent the desiccator, and I think in this case you want to do it a little bit slowly, so you don't immediately pull off the red tab. You just kind of let air go in very, very slowly, so that it doesn't like blow out, blow everywhere.
Oh my god, that's
okay. After vent, just take off the top. Leave the leveler in there. Then pump the desiccator back down. And then take these guys into the 60 degrees C furnace. So, a few things you want to check before you put it in. You want to check the temperature first. So we always have a thermometer in there, and we always have this thermometer off initially to save on batteries, so we don't have to keep replacing the batteries. So just quickly check that it is 60 degrees. It usually varies between 50 and 70 degrees C. This oven is not very stable. So just quickly hit on. Sometimes it won't flick on, and then you just kind of have to press it a little. For some reason. So 64 degrees C, that's totally fine. This thing is like really plus or minus 10 around 60 degrees C. So this is good. So now we just turn this back off. Open the oven. Let's move everything else out of the way. And then here, we'll place these guys in. So when we place these guys in, now we really do want to level it. If you don't level it, what will happen is the PDMS will be, you know, a lot more on one side, and you'll have a large slope on your PDMS. And when you go to cut it to make PVC slides, it'll really lean to one side versus the other, and your wavefront will be very weird. So we really need to level it this time and make sure. Again, we use glass slides to level it. So we just place it on the glass slides. This is a previous setup of glass slides I used before, so hopefully it's still good, but we'll see. And then we use this little leveler. So we use the circular leveler so we can see all three directions simultaneously. And this guy should always be on top of this furnace. If it's not, then someone's in trouble. So right now I'm just trying to level it, so I really just need to kind of raise this side more. But I raised it too much. But now it's too along this side. So it needs to get lower on this side. Boop. It's actually a lot closer before. Come on. Let's see. Where's this? It can be kind of painful to do this sometimes. Come on. So close. This is pretty good. Well. It doesn't have to be exact. And the way that this is now, it's kind of good. So I'll very carefully take it off. Actually, I kind of want to double check now. Yeah, it's fine. Once you've double checked your balancing, just make sure that you place this leveler on the top always. It should always stay here. Make sure that the temperature monitor is turned off, because otherwise the battery runs out and then we run out of batteries. As you can see, there's already 3 batteries on the top. And then close the door gently so that you don't rock your sample, because you don't want to be not leveled. You should hear a little snap. And then that's basically it. And so you just wait about 2 days and the PDMS will harden. You can also just do 24 hours. And depending on how long you let it harden, it will be stickier or not sticky. So if you really want something really sticky, then you just let it harden over a course of I think half an hour and beyond. There's tables for this online that you can look up if you feel like doing it. So then after that, you just remove it and then you're free to use it, cut it up however you want.